So hello, it's really nice to be here and thank you for the organization. So today I'm going to be presenting the presentation called Vertical Growth and Collective Strength Through Mixed Use. So by 2050, it is expected that 70% of the global population will live in cities. Our urban environments are being made and remade at a faster pace and larger scales than ever before. It is inevitable that we will keep building upwards as architects, urban planners, city councils, and investors. But we have to ask ourselves, how can we truly tackle urban densification and reduce urban sprawl? How can we make high-rise buildings more accessible to the public, maintaining and improving the right to the city and public community engagement? This accelerating urbanization underlines the urgent need for thoughtful, future-orientated planning and efficient, flexible land use. High-rise buildings are central to this vertical shift. Mixed-use development is an indispensable strategy for maximizing the potential of these structures, directly addressing density, sustainability, and economic vitality. The core challenge is ensuring that these vertical hubs, which we see here in Frankfurt, both existing and new, are adaptable, resilient, and culturally integrated to support diverse community needs and much more. So what opportunities exist to make mixed-use tall buildings more responsive to community needs by blending residential, commercial, and public functions? And how does cultural identity influence the way we build vertically? It is vital that we prioritize reusing and repurposing existing high-rise buildings to accommodate multiple functions within a single structure. Within Frankfurt, Germany's financial capital, high-rise buildings have for a long time been viewed as independent units within the urban fabric, disconnected from the communities. Over time, through competitions between banks and international corporations, numerous high-rise buildings were built. Initially, many high-rises were monofunctional, only with one usage. Solitary structures with few connections to public spaces, leading to empty and little frequented streets after office hours and on the weekends, so the people would not spend time in the cities. This led to Frankfurt implementing a specific high-rise framework, which we see here, that focuses on creating high-rise clusters, encouraging mixed-use buildings, activating the high-rise bases, and punctually refining and expanding the clusters when needed. It is vital that efficient land use, sustainability, economic vitality, community engagement are integrated as guiding principles, not just to design and create architecture, but to navigate the entire process of keeping a building actively engaged throughout its entire life cycle. These principles are vital for social dynamics, making the city accessible and safe and giving citizens a right to the city. In Hessen, which is the state in Germany where our office is, we define a high-rise building as a building that is higher than 22 meters. And according to the HEP 2024, which is the high-rise planning plan of Frankfurt, which is like the high-rise plan of Frankfurt, we can see that with time we're trying to create a more mixed-use and diverse community, integrating a maximum amount of 70% commercial uses in a building, or either a maximum of 85% residential usage within the building, and then trying to bring other uses such as hotel, retails, and residential and social facilities into the mix. Drawing on over 90 years of architectural expertise, KSP has significantly shaped Frankfurt's skyline, having designed over 17 high-rise buildings in Frankfurt and more than 50 worldwide. For us, mixed use is not a choice, but a necessity. Projects like the Wings Tower, Palais Quartier, and the Central Business Tower, which is now finally under construction, are 3 examples of mixed-use high-rise buildings where we bring diverse functions together. When we design a mixed-use building, our focus is not just on the building itself, but also on its urban integration as a whole. So let's take a look at Wings Tower. How can we create attractive open spaces around a design that is inviting and enhances connectivity and user experience? The answer is quite simple: permeability, culture, and of course mixed use. These are 3 keystones in achieving urban integration. So when we talk about permeability, it's not just permeability per se, but in terms of the building itself, it's permeability in terms of contextuality. And that's what we can see here, that we have the axes going through the building, and we punctually try and bring people together around it and create permeability. How does the user get from A to B? And how do we integrate culture through art? And what we see here is an installation which actually links back to the Frankfurt city, being a city right at the Main, the River Main, where we introduce this installation into the building with boats hanging from the ceiling, allowing people to come into the building and also experience it as a cultural place. And also, how do we bring people into the building, onto the rooftops, and give them these beautiful views across the city and across the skyline to actually give the people the right to access these high-rise buildings. So what we created is actually a plaza in the second line, creating a sense of urban respect. And around this plaza, there are actually 2 restaurants that face each other, opposed by trees, water, and seating opportunities, bringing vibrancy into the space. So the functions you see on the screen now are the most common mixed-use functions that we currently think of when we talk about mixed use, with office and residential spaces leading the way. But why do we so often limit how we let functions interact? How can we strengthen a building's interdisciplinary way of interacting with itself and its surroundings? This was one of the challenges we faced. When we designed the Great Mosque of Algiers. But for us, it was instantly clear that the mix of uses, a mosque, office, library space, and museum, as well as an observation deck, would be a way to strengthen the collective community and create a building where culture, personal growth, and tourism are at the center of focus. A high-rise building that seamlessly interlocks with religion, and with its minaret, the tallest in the world at 264 meters, acts as a landmark of Algiers. Here we see the integration of the museum, the office spaces, and the observation deck. And we see that the cores were pushed to the outside to maximize flexibility within the floor plan. And this mix works fantastically. So let us try and push the boundaries of mixed use. In one of our most recent high-rise buildings, which is currently still being designed, which is Theodorheuss in Frankfurt, all these things that I previously mentioned were essential. Why? Because in this case, the challenge was not to create a new building, but to actually take an existing building that used to act as an old back office with a very deep floor plan, and create functionality for a new mixed-use building that is deeply connected with its surroundings. And we see here on the site that the building is nestled right in between other office buildings, a residential setting, and to the right, a school. So how do we reuse this building? We push and we readjusted the cores to maximize flexibility, and in the middle we integrated a plaza, which we will see in a moment.
2 minutes left.
And we integrated a plaza in the middle to actually bring people into the building and create a mixed-use functional building, which is actually for everyone. So if we look at the floor plan, we can see at the bottom we actually incorporate a supermarket along with a gym, and then we actually pull the people up into the first floor, where in the middle there's a Wasserhäuschen, which means the water house, and actually links to the culture of Frankfurt. So for us, it's important to bring the culture into the building and create a mixed-use environment that is accessible to all. We're living in a time that's extremely exciting for architecture. It's up to us to think sustainability and to rethink landmarks. Landmarks not just in terms of design, but landmarks in terms of civic anchors and community shared spaces, vertically and horizontally. We need to actively design responsive buildings through mixed use. This brings us, so together, let us keep rethinking the things we as architects already know, to create new, resilient, and sustainable architecture. Architecture that provides community engagement, is adaptable, resilient, and culturally integrated. Let us use mixed use as a tool to tackle global needs and collectively strengthen our urban environments and their architecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Jürgen.